Welcome to another beautiful weekday episode of Unleashing the Future of Work, a guide live podcast. Today I'm joined by a really awesome fellow founder, CEO, and guest with me, man, Darrian Mikell, the guy himself, who's currently the CEO and co-founder of Qualifi, an HR tech startup focused on taking the pain out of recruiting while creating meaningful, engaging experiences for candidates. I'm super excited to talk with him about entrepreneurship, what inspired Qualify, where they're at, and where they're going, but also a little bit about his background. If you're tuning in today, let us know where you're tuning in from. I'm currently chiming in, per usual, from the lovely Oakland, California, where it's really beautiful this amazing Wednesday morning. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know where you're tuning in from go through the episode and hoping that you're staying safe and healthy no matter where you're tuning in from. With that said, let's on Darrian, and let's hope there are no technical hiccups for this live episode. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, hopefully it doesn't break up too much. I think it's a little bit on my end, but thanks for having me. I'm excited for our conversation.
Hopefully so. We need 5G, man. We need it now.
Yeah, hopefully
Me
soon.
too, man. Me too. Yeah, where are you tuning in from, man?
I'm in the Indianapolis area, so I'm in a suburb outside of Indianapolis. So a little bit farther away from you in Oakland, but it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot here right now. So I'm glad to be indoors at least.
Yeah. No, I can only imagine. Nice to see you today, man. Shout out to Vish, who's tuning in from Regina, Canada. Whew, that's a long way. Regina, Canada. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. And shout out to Tolu, who's tuning in from Ontario, Canada. Thank you so much, Tolu. My friend, the amazing Betty Hart, who I actually just had on an episode last week, which was an incredible episode, is tuning in from Chi City, Chicago. Much love to Betty. You are amazing. Keep doing amazing things, Betty. So, if you all are going to love today's episode, you all are excited about it, please share with your network, share or tag Darrian and I on LinkedIn now. Show us some love. Darrian, I would love for you to share a little bit more about your background. Tell us a little bit about what inspired Qualify and how long have you been, being this rock star entrepreneur in the Indianapolis area?
I wouldn't say rock star, but yeah, appreciate it. So yeah, my background, part of what's inspired Qualify is this is the second startup I've been a part of. First one that I've been full time with in terms of running as a CEO. The last company I was with is actually an Amazon focused platform. It's called Viral Launch. We were helping third-party retailers to launch and grow their businesses on Amazon using software and creative services. It was really fun. I was the one of the first hires there and right-hand man to the CEO. My responsibility was over pretty much all of the internal operations while everyone was focused on customers and building products. I was the guy that had to get a lot of the inner workings done. So that included finance, a lot of the general admin stuff that's involved with building a startup. And then what we do at Qualify is obviously an HR tech product, and that's where I got my start in terms of learning about HR in the recruiting process, because I oversaw that for at least the first couple of years there as well. And so yeah. And then what we do at Qualify, if it's helpful for context, is we are fully automating the phone interview process to make it scalable, more convenient, but then also less biased and more objective in the process for both the recruiters and candidates involved. So we're pretty early in our growth right now, but excited about our trajectory, where how things are lining up for us, at least hopefully, and trying to just grind to make it work.
Yeah. So how long have you all been on this journey?
It depends on when you start the clock. The idea started when I was at Viral Launch, around like 2017. It was just an idea floating in my head. It made it to my running idea list in my phone, and it was something that kind of stuck and started working with. I get to work with my brother. He's my original co-founder. His name's Darrian Mikell. And we just started sketching up ideas and talking with recruiters to see if it was a real thing, if it was some real pain there that we could solve. And we've just kind of continually worked on it. I left Viral Launch at the beginning of last year and decided to go full time with Qualifi. We officially incorporated around a year ago, though, so it's been about a year.
Just kind of getting it started. And let me ask you, what was the, and shout out to Osafo who's tuning in from Ghana. If you all have any questions for Darrian as we speak about entrepreneurship, building a venture, please add them to the comments. We'll definitely make sure we address them and recognize them and have Darrian give his twist and his perspective on your questions. Shout out to Manoj, who's also tuning in from India as well. So what was the creative process with starting the company, man? Especially having an idea, taking it from your head and putting it on paper and then incorporating it. Were there any roadblocks in the process? What was the challenges for you, man?
Yeah, I think there's so many roadblocks in starting a company. For us, what we're offering is something that's new to most of the prospects that we talk to, most of the recruiters that we talk to. So there's just depending on like how you look at it, there's different roadblocks in terms of them understanding the problem, what we're putting out there in terms of messaging. One of the biggest early gaps for us was it's one thing for me to tell you about what the experience is. It's another thing for you to experience yourself. And so we felt like it was necessary to build a lightweight MVP. So that was like a technical gap that we had to fill. And we have two other co-founders that we were able to bring on to help us actually build a product and then evolve it to where it is today. But yeah, I could dive in anywhere, in our journey, but there's tons of roadblocks. But part of the early creative process for me was really just jotting out notes and then taking those notes to like put the vision down of what I thought it would look like in my head. And we use like simple prototyping tools, very cheap. So we use like free versions and got something where you could click around with it just to see, what how the experience could flow, and then use that to start building the actual product.
Yeah. Now, I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of energy and effort it goes to building a venture, building a company, and synthesizing everyone's ideas, synthesizing everyone's vision. What was it like for you pitching and recruiting and trying to get people on board with the idea for Qualifi? Was that fun? With like, oh my goodness, I don't even know how to talk about this because it's so new.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things to do. So at my core, I'm a collaborator. I recognize that I don't have the one technical chops to do a ton of stuff, and I would much rather lean on a team to get things done. So that's one of my favorite parts about building anything new is just collaborating and getting a team together. That was maybe the easiest part for me is something I'm good at. I'm very much a visionary person, and I like to think I can sell a vision for people to get around. So that part was fun. Remind me of the question. I probably didn't answer it directly.
No. You actually answered it perfectly. Shout out to Zane, who's tuning in from Severn, Maryland. Zane, if you have any questions on how to build a company, you're talking to the man right now, Darrian. So definitely let us know if you have any questions on that. Zane, Manoj, Osafo, let us know. No, you definitely answered the question, man. I think you being able to understand that you're a collaborator, but also a visionary, makes it easier for you to sell. But one of the skills that I found that people don't realize is really important to building anything is your ability to sell. I think selling is like an underrated skill. I didn't realize how important selling is, and selling like obviously with integrity. I mean, the best salesmen are the people who believe in what they're building. And that is a huge skill because you have to have conviction, but you also have to feel as if you are right, like you're doing something that's a service to the customer. And you working in HR tech and working in enterprise, was there ever a point where you're like, oh my God, Qualified wouldn't work, or were you always kind of pretty convicted?
So I have a lot of conviction, and I think that's a pro and a con of me specifically as an entrepreneur, is that I'm very much convicted that this is a viable solution, that there's really big potential and big implications for what we're building. But that in some ways could be misleading if you stay down the wrong track too long. But in terms of selling, it is a huge skill, and it's something that I've had to continue to refine, continue to get better at. A lot of it's just like organization and process and just making sure you're following up consistently. That's just really a difficult part of it. I'm really good at talking with people, relating with people. But beyond that, it takes more than that to sell. And I'm continuously learning about what it takes to sell and trying to round that out, get advice from other people that actually do that as a profession, or have experience doing that as previous founders. And so, because at my last company, I didn't have to do that. We actually didn't even have a sales team. We were more product led. We were kind of in the right place at the right time, so we were able to grow mainly off of word of mouth and marketing. And so I kind of had the luxury of not, having to do that as much. But now with Qualifi, it's pretty much 100% my job, both with investors. We're in the middle of like raising money, and then also, with our potential customers that we're talking to. So it's definitely, if I wasn't planning on learning about it, I'm definitely learning more about it now. So yeah.
Definitely crack open your sales books, folks. If you're interested in building a venture, crack open your sales books because it's an important skill. And Darren, thank you so much for sharing that with us, because I think, even for me, when we started building Guide, sales wasn't a core competency that I had, but it's developed over time just through the process of talking with people, learning, okay, how do I talk about what we're building? So I can relate with you, man. It's 100% a skill that you have to use.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, because you also have a family and you're also building a company. How do you balance both for those of you, and especially through potentially what's being not necessarily regarded as a recession yet, but an economic downturn? How are you kind of thriving given the situation?
Yeah, so on the last part, one with the company, I think that what's going on in the world actually has the potential of creating some tailwinds for us in what we do, because we are at the top of the funnel helping teams to streamline the process, make it more objective and more efficient. So I think with, obviously there's a lot of people push pause on everything, when shutdown started to happen, but we're seeing a lot more people show interest in what we're doing. And then I think the pain is going to start resonating more as people start applying more to jobs with unemployment being so high. And so I think some of those things will create some opportunities for us. But in terms of balancing everything, from family life, I have a ton going on right now. To give you guys context, I have 2 young ones. I have a wife and 2 kids. We're expecting a third in like less than a month. We are running out of room in our house, hence why I'm doing this in our bedroom, and we're looking to possibly move within the next month or 2, plus hopefully closing our financing round at Qualifi and trying to scramble to make more sales, and just a ton going on. But I think in terms of like work-life balance with the family, I think that's I've always said that that's like a separate agreement that each person is going to have a different perspective on and a different meaning. For us, it's just an agreement with my wife on what that looks like. And right now, I let her sleep in every morning to around 9. I take the kids every morning, and as of late with the nice weather, we've been going to the park. I make a breakfast. We go to the park a little bit, and then I'm pretty much locked in here when we come back until around like 4:30. I've actually really enjoyed the experience of working from home, because I get to have lunch with them and get to see more of the daily moments. So that's been really awesome. And then I try to not work too late into the typical work day, and maybe if I have to catch up on work, doing that late in the evenings if needed, or waking up extra early in the morning to try to knock some stuff out. So yeah, like I said, it's just like it's different agreements you make with yourself and with your family, and then you kind of have to structure your day around that. So that's kind of how I go about it.
So do you recommend people make kind of their own personal agreements on how they see work-life balance so they can, create their own routines? Because I think a lot of people have been having challenges creating new routines due to COVID-19 because everyone is now working from home.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's tough because like it's setting it's expectations. I think a lot of life is setting proper expectations. So when you discuss with your significant others or even with yourself, like so you don't burn yourself out, you have to know what that looks like and try to plan accordingly. I try to like continually evaluate my everyday processes. Like probably created different structures in my calendars. I block out times that can't be booked on my calendar and things of that nature, just to ensure some of those things. But there's also some flexibility there as well as, stuff comes up. You're running a startup, you have a family, there's always going to be stuff that doesn't go to plan. So you kind of have to sometimes make adjustments on the fly. But yeah.
Dude, I love that. I love that so much. Man, shout out to everyone that's tuning in. Thank you so much for showing us love and being a part of this awesome conversation I'm having with Darrian Mikell, who is the CEO of Qualifi. So make sure you check out Qualifi if you haven't, especially if you're in the HR world. It's an awesome, awesome tool that you can use to really rethink the candidate experience. Darrian, I would love for you to share a little bit about, so what's next for Qualifi? What are you guys currently going through right now? You mentioned earlier that you all are going through your fundraising round. In the next few years, where do you see Qualifi going, and how can the people who need Qualifi in their workplace get a hold of you, man?
Yeah, I can make myself available to whoever wants to learn more about it. We're still, like I said, in the very early stages. We have a live product that's up and ready for anyone that wants to jump on and start using it. But there's more features and things that we're pushing. Basically, what we do right now is we let recruiters pre-record their own audio-based questions. So it's an audio-first format for these interviews. We make it really frictionless for candidates to respond to these interviews. So they'll get an invitation via text, via an email. It's essentially 2 clicks, one to read the instructions, another to press start, and our system will dial their phone when they're ready, and then they respond to these interview questions that the recruiters have set up. And so there's a lot of implications of where that can go. Right now, we want to save people time, help them with a better structured approach to their process, and streamline the efforts. But there's some really big things that we envision and have planned with, what we're able to do with, just that format. So yeah.
Powerful. You heard it here first, folks. So make sure you definitely check out Darrian and what they're building at Qualifi. He's super accessible on LinkedIn, and I have actually added their website in the comments so you guys can check out qualifi.hr. They have a really beautiful website as well. So make sure you check it out. What's up?
I was just going to say, if you hit the contact now, we're going to be revamping our website. So it should give you a good base of information. There should be some new stuff on the way. But if you hit the contact, it's actually going to route you directly to my email. So if you want to get a hold of me that way, you can do that. And my LinkedIn, I think it should be tagged somewhere. Reach out to me there as well. I'd love to connect with anyone that's interested.
Sweet. Rapid fire round. Okay, so Darrian, what sport did you play when you were in high school?
Yeah, I am a lifelong athlete. I've played all the sports pretty much, but basketball is my first love, and track is probably my second love. I played both through college.
I love that. That's real. Who are your favorite athletes?
I think I think Michael Jordan is probably like everyone's. So, but beyond that, Allen Iverson is probably the one that resonates. I'm close to his height and weight, and he was, if in my mind, if he could make it, I could potentially make it. I ultimately didn't, but he was the one that inspired me the most, I think.
I love that. If AI can do it, anyone can do it. What have been some of your favorite books over the last years that allowed you to be the rock star entrepreneur that you are?
Oh my goodness. That's a terrible question to ask me right now because I haven't been reading as much as I used to. I've been like, it's not a great excuse. I've been so focused on like getting Qualifi up and off the ground that it's taken a toll on my reading life. What is a good book that I read? The Bible. I read the Bible. I try to read the Bible every day. That's a great source of wisdom for me. But for new entrepreneurs, I always recommend the Lean Startup as just like a base model for how to think about starting anything, whether it's a business or just a project you're working on that you think has legs to it. So that would be my like recommendation in terms of anyone that's new in the entrepreneurial world.
Shout out to Eric Rees and the Lean Startup. You know what, Darrian? What is a powerful takeaway that you want to give our guide community to close things off?
That's good. I think I'm always the person. I'm always the friend that tries to tell you to pursue your passions, pursue those dreams, whether that is something really big or something really small. You're never going to know unless you take that step, take that leap. For me, I took a huge leap leaving my last job and not knowing what my source of income was going to be for a few months. Hopefully it pays off. the worst case scenario is I go get another job and have a bunch of stuff that I've learned along the way. So that's my biggest thing that I always try to pass along to people is, if you're thinking about something, do whatever it takes. Do that first step to see if it's real, see if it's something that you can do and make part of your livelihood. So, yeah.
Love it. That's amazing advice. Shout out to you, man. And once again, if you all want to connect with Darrian, please follow him on LinkedIn. I have made sure that we shared Qualifi's website in the comments. Darrian, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of a Guide Live B2B Jam session. We need to have you on for a future episode. What do you think, man?
I'm definitely down for it, man. Some fun to catch up with you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, brother. Talk to you soon, man.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks, guys.
And that caps off another episode of A Guide Live B2B Jam Session podcast. If you're interested in being a future guest, check out utfow.com. Or if you want to sponsor a future episode, check out utfow.com. In addition to that, we are currently in beta for Guide app. We have launched and we are launching and we're building too. And we have a strong creator community that we're actively building. If you want to be a part of our creator community, or if you want access to the beta when we release it to a more broader audience, check out guideapp.co and please sign up for beta access, or tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your sister to sign up for beta access. We're actively building. With that said, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope you all are well wherever you're at. Please take time for yourself, meditate, eat good, spend time with family, and more importantly, remain peaceful, loving, and abundant. Talk to you all soon. Peace.